अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत्परमगुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी सिंह परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी हयवदन परब्रह्मणे नमः सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Okay, we'll continue with the lecture. Sorry for the delay. Oh, this is not the one. Just a second. Can you hear me and can you see the lecture number 216?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay, all right, great. So in the 6th chapter, if yoga in the 6th chapter were prescribed for a householder performing rituals, then even if he fell from yoga, he would still attain the fruits of his actions, karma. In that case, the fear of his total ruin, ubhaya vibhrashta, losing everything, expressed by Arjuna later in the chapter would be unjustified. We talked about it yesterday. Okay, so yoga in the 6th chapter is only for a sannyasi, not for a grihastha. That is the view of Shankaracharya. He continues in his introduction to the 6th chapter. So we are going to complete the introduction given by Shankaracharya in the 6th chapter, starting from where we left off yesterday. Avashyam hi kritam karma kamyam nityam va mokshasya nityatvat anarabhyatve swam phalam arabhate evam. What Shankaracharya says is, look, karma could be kamya or nitya. Kamya karma is desire oriented. Swarga kamo yajeta, let me have children, let me have rain, all those things. The yajna does or any work done for any of kamya karma, that has effects. Even nitya karma, according to Shankaracharya, has effects. Again, this is nitya karma has no effects for Sri Vaishnavas and Vishishtadvaitins and probably other systems. But Shankaracharya argues nitya karma has to have some effect, some good effect, and it could be chitta shuddhi, whatever. So why nitya karma? Nitya karmanaha cha karmanaha veda pramana avabuddhatvat. Vedas have talked about nitya karma. Who talked about nitya karma? Veda says aharaha sanjam kurveta yavat jivam agnihotram juhuyat. All these things are Vedika. Till the end of life you should do agni karya, and every day you have aharaha, dawn and dusk, and in midday you have to do sandhyavandana. All these things are Vedika karmas, right? And because Vedas say there is some value, otherwise why would Vedas say? But on the other hand, moksha, mokshasya nityatvat, anarabhyatve. So moksha is not caused by any kind of activity. You do this yajna, you will get moksha, nothing like that. Moksha is already there. Moksha is ever existent. Then why do we don't feel it? You are ignorant, or I am ignorant, that's why I don't feel it. When the knowledge comes, oh, I already have had moksha, I am only not this body, not this mind, not this person stuck in samsara. I am not a doer, I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta. I don't need any of these fruits. I am Shuddha Nitya Mukta Atma. I am pure, ever released Atma, which is Brahman itself. Brahman is, what do you call, because it relates to the creation, the word Brahman is used, but Atma is the right word Shankaracharya uses. So I am only Atma, and that is one. That is already achieved. That is, moksha is nitya. Only thing is we have not realized it. That's all. So this is the theory he builds. So the kamya karmas or nitya karma, if he is a householder, if he is doing it every day and whatever it is, that will have effects. Whether he gets swarga in the next janma, or children in this janma, or rain and good happiness and prosperity here, all this, that will work only. There is no question of loss of that. So why should he be ubhaya vibhrashta? Why should he lose everything? That means Arjuna was told to give up grihastha and take up moksha sannyasa ashrama separately and then only do dhyana. That is his idea. Now, nacha karmani sati ubhaya vibrashta vachanam athavat karmana vibramsha karana anupattehe. So thing is, karmas cannot be there without any effect. If he is doing actions, there is some effect. There is some value. He has got married life, he can do many things with it. All the actions are there and the effects are there. The Purva Pakshi, the objection guy says, look, it's not true. Karma kritam ishvare sanyasya ityataha kartuh karma phalam narabhate iti chete. The opponent says, Shankaracharya himself creates an opponent. Oh, somebody may say like this. No. All the work I do, I offer it to the Lord, Ishvara. So, I don't have any interest in the fruits of the phala. So, I will not get any fruits because God will take care of it. No. Shankaracharya argues, Ishvare sanyasasya adhikatara phala hetutva upapattehe. If you offer it to Ishvara, Ishvara is so happy, he will give you a lot more fruits. So don't think that just by offering your karmas and everything, kartatva and bhoktritva, phala abhisandhi, interest in the fruits of the actions, agency and everything, and dedicate it to Ishvara, there will be no effects. There will still be effects because God will bless you with lot of fruits. Then the Purva Pakshi, the opponent says, okay, what if Lord gives a huge fruit, moksha itself? Let it be. So offering all the actions to the Lord for the sake of moksha, of course we want moksha, and this is a great fruit, and that is acceptable, right? And since in the last phase, the yogi has forgotten the yoga and he has fallen from yoga, so he is afraid that he will lose moksha. So his fear of ruin is indeed justified. Of course he is very upset that what if I die and I have not reached the meditation, the completion of dhyana. He will lose moksha, and he is very upset with it, and that's justified. That's what the Purva Paksha says. So Shankaracharya imagines this Purva Paksha. Shankaracharya answers, no, the clarity in the 6th chapter is given by Krishna. Ekaki yatachittatma nirashihi aparigrahaha in the Bhagavad-Gita 6:10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha. So yogi should go in a quiet place and do dhyana. Rahasi sthitaha. Ekaki yatachittatma. He should be alone and control the mind. Nirashihi aparigrahaha, with no desires. aparigraha, do not have any possessions. Parigraha is possessions. Prashantatma vigatabihi, with mind calm and without any fear. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha, the person should be a brahmachari without marriage, no connection with anybody. Manaha samyamya machittaha yukta asita matparaha, keeping me in mind, be in yoga with mind control. So the thing is, this is what was said in the 6th chapter 10 and 14. So what does it mean? Brahmachari vrate sthitaha means he should be unmarried. Iti karma sannyasa vidhanat. So thing is, all actions should be given up and he should be a brahmachari. न च अत्र ध्यानकाले स्त्री सहायत्वा आशंका येन एकाकित्वं विधीयते. Because brahmachari vrate sthitaha is given, it is not become it is not just ekaki. So ekaki means be alone. No. While doing dhyana, send your wife or husband away somewhere else, and you can go sit in a lonely place and then do dhyana. Is it what said there? Brahmachari vrate sthitaha was also said here. That means it is not just to prevent the company of a wife during meditation. You give up your wife completely. Walk from the grihastha, walk from children, walk from everything. Don't have any possessions. It is very clear, right? That's what Shankaracharya argues. Nacha grihasthasya
I have a question. Sorry. Can I ask? This is relevant to this particular. When you say you walk away from your grihasthashram and your children and your wife, does it mean after you complete all your duties, that your responsibilities, or it can happen even before that?
Good question. See, what the Shastras say is if he gets realization, if he gets vairagya, that is, he becomes he has no desires, and he gets a state of desirelessness, he can walk anytime. For example, a good question, it is said in the Atmarte Prithvim Tyajet, is a Shastra, Vachana. That means once you see, nobody is going to help you to get your Atman. If you say that tomorrow my life may go away, it is wasted, I might have to do something to get moksha. For that you can give up your family and walk at any moment. Because family duty is very good, important. But beyond family duty is your commitment to realization of moksha. Because that is the highest goal. In fact, Shankaracharya often, we are talking about Shankara Bhashya here. We are not talking about generally anything, right? We should only keep Shankara Bhashya in mind, his view. He says, Yadahareva virajet, tadahareva pravrajet. The day you get dispassion, you become desireless, and you think that yes, only Brahman is the goal. That day itself, you should leave home and become a monk. You should not wait that night. You may change your mind in the night. Don't let it do that to you. You have realized the highest desireless state. Walk at that moment. That's what it is said. This is controversial, right? Buddha walked with everything. He had wife and children and a child and Rahula, and then wonderful palaces and responsibilities and whatever. He just walked, right? So there is I think I have answered your question, right?
Yeah, I was having Buddha in mind. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Shankaracharya argues the Dhyana Yoga meditation described in this chapter 6 is for the sannyasi, the renunciate, rather than the grihastha householder. Why does he say that? Look at Nacha grihasthasya nirashira parigrahaha. free from expectations and free from possessions. How does it suit a grihastha? A married person should be responsible in life. He has to help out the wife for whatever, and wife has to help out the husband, and children have to be supported, and parents have to be supported. If a sannyasi comes to town, you have to take care of the sannyasi, offer him food, water, shelter, whatever, right? Householder's duty is continuous, and you cannot give up. And free from expectations, free from possessions is not, it does not apply to the grihastha. Also, if this ityadi vaja anukulam, ubhaya vibrashta prashna anupapatescha. Ubhaya, we already talked about the, losing both doesn't work, doesn't even, happen here. It's untenable. Okay. The possession are nirashihi aparigraha. Possession. In verse 10, Krishna says yogi should be aparigraha, without possessions. Shankaracharya says a householder by definition must possess a home, fire for rituals. He should have the materials to create fire, to do the rituals Agnikarya, and the wealth, money to support a family. Therefore, the command to be without possessions cannot logically apply to someone living in a householder life. It should refer to a monk, sannyasi. So, Ubhaya Vibrashta, we already talked about the rent cloud. The rent cloud is, the cloud is here, the cloud is, one part of the cloud is the karma, he is doing daily duties of the karma, and he is getting the value of Agnihotra and everything like that. He has left that. And now on the other hand, he has become a monk, but he cannot focus properly, and he loses the monkhood, loses the dhyana. So he loses both, right? This makes sense. The two paths both refer to the path of karma and path of yoga, knowledge. If the seeker was a householder, he could never be fallen from both, because he does not lose karma. And the punyas from his household rituals will and duties to protect him. That is, there will be punya. He would still have the merit, punya, from his household rituals and duties to protect him. The question only makes sense for a sannyasi who has given up the rituals to pursue yoga. If such a person fails at yoga, he has neither the rituals nor the realization, hence he has fallen from both. So this is the Ubhaya Vibrashta logic, Shankaracharya says. So Shankaracharya continues, Dhyana yogam prati bahirangasya yataha karmanaha palakanksha sannyasa paratvat. So intention of Krishna is sasannyasi cha yogi cha. He says, who has given up the fruits of interest in the fruits of actions, he is great. He is not motivated by any goal or fruits. In that sense, he is praised to be, he is a sannyasi, he is as good as a sannyasi and a yogi. Sannyasi cha yogi cha. So, this is just a praise of the grihastha who has given up the desire for the fruits. Dhyana yogam prati bahirangasya yataha karmanaha, because the intention here is to praise the renunciation of the desire for the fruits of action, which is an external subsidiary, bahiranga. That is, actions are external subsidiary, but actions can give you purity of mind, and that can help you in your dhyana yoga. It is an aid to the dhyana yoga which is external. But focus and meditation is directly internal. Na kevalam niragnihi akriha eva sannyasi yogi cha. Shankaracharya says, it is not that only the one who has abandoned or given up the sacrificial fire and rituals is a sannyasi and a yogi. So even though a grihastha is still having the fire and rituals, he engages in actions, but still he is a sannyasi and a yogi because he has given up the desire for fruits. That's the idea here. It is a praise. Then he says, किं तर्हि कर्म्यपि कर्मफलासङ्गं सन्न्यस्य कर्मयोगम् अनुतिष्ठन् सत्त्वशुद्ध्यर्थं स सन्न्यासी च योगी च भवति इति स्तूयते. What then? Even a performer of action, karmi, who performs karma yoga for the sake of purification of the mind, sattva shuddhi, by giving up the attachment to the results of his action, karma phalasangam sannyasya, such a person is praised by saying he is a sannyasi cha yogi. Oh, he is very much a sannyasi, and this is only a praise. Shankaracharya continues, न च एकेन वाक्येन कर्मफलासंग संन्यासस्तुतिः चतुर्थाश्रम प्रतिषेधश्च उपपद्यते. Well, in one line, can Krishna denounce sannyasa ashrama, which is well established in the past, in the tradition? What is a sannyasa ashrama? The person gives up the family, gives up everything, gives up parents, gives up one day he goes and then he gets initiation into monkhood. He does yajna, jiva shraddha. He says that he also does not exist. Nobody needs to give me any pitru karma. I am gone. He does jiva shraddha on himself and walks away. That he is a sannyasi. And such a sannyasi is derided by Krishna. So Krishna says, oh, Grihastha himself, Grihastha who has given up the desire for the fruits of actions, he himself is a sannyasi and a yogi. So why do you need the separate monk status for anybody? Anybody who is a Grihastha, he is also a sannyasi. So the sannyasa ashrama is not required. So do you think Krishna is deriding sannyasa ashrama here in one sentence? And he is praising the householder who has given up the interest for the fruits of actions? He says, Nacha prasiddham niragnehe akriyasya paramartha sannyasinaha shruti smriti purana itihasa yoga shastreshu bhedam sannyasitvam yogitvam cha pratishedati Bhagavan. How can Krishna, who is the establisher of dharma, can denounce the formal stage of sannyasa? Because in the Paramartha sannyasi should give up all actions, he should give up all agni karyas, and then it is explained in the Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasa, Yoga Shastra that such a formal sannyasa exists. Vihitam sannyasitvam yogitvam cha. So the thing is such a great sannyasa ashrama which is essential to the world, and that is the pathway for a person to get moksha. How can that be denounced by Krishna? That is the Paramartha sannyasa, right? That is the true sannyasa, extolled in all these shastras. Svavachana virodhacha. If you think that that is true, it goes against Krishna's words. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya, giving up all actions through our mind. Naiva kurvan nakarayane, not doing anything, not getting anything done. Bhagavad-Gita 5:13. Mauni santushtaha, he is mauni, he does not talk. Santushtaha, he is happy. Yena kena chitta, whatever comes, he eats if somebody gives food. He doesn't eat if he does not get food. Aniketaha, does not have a home. Stiramatihi, mind is constant on Brahman. Vihaya kaman yes sarvan pumascharati nisprahaha. Second chapter. Giving up all desires. Sarvan kaman, all desires. Pumascharati nisprahaha. He has no desire of any kind. Sarva arambha parityagi. In the I think 13th chapter, 12th chapter, that is Bhakti Yoga. Sarva arambha parityagi. He gives up all actions. Iticha tatra bhagavata svavachanani darshitani. Krishna has said, this is the status, this is the true fourth Paramartha Sannyasa, the fourth ashrama, Chaturtha ashrama. So he does not deny the existence of the Chaturtha ashrama. Tasmat munehe yogam arurukshoho pratipanna. So therefore the seeker Muni who desires to ascend to yoga but is still in the householder stage, the performance of rituals like Agnihotra without desire for the result serves as a means to ascend to Dhyana Yoga. If he loses the desire for the fruits of actions and Agnihotra, he is slowly preparing himself for Dhyana Yoga through the purification of mind. Such a person is praised as Sasannyasi cha yogi cha. That's all. Now, we will. Now, so far, do you have any questions in Shankaracharya's logic? Do you understand everything? So far, okay, right?
Yeah, he's just establishing that karma can at best be a preparatory means.
Preparatory purificatory means. External purificatory means. Yes. Any other questions? Comments? Everything okay? So far? Okay. Let's continue. Oh, Wayne Ji, what's up?
Okay, well, I'm going to be counter on this a little bit, but the way I see this, and it just common sense, is that if there's a guy that has a young family and he walks out on them and they have no support, they have no food or shelter or anything without his work, and he decides to become a sannyasi, I don't see that being a badge of courage or anything. So I don't think that's what this is intended to be. I don't think that it's saying that you can walk out on your young family and go become a sannyasi and just desert them and let them starve to death. I just don't think that's rational.
Okay.
So I think that it could be misunderstood that way. I'm not saying that that's what it says, but I think it could be misunderstood that way.
See, hold on a second, just a second. Let me increase the volume here. I think on my side the sound is reduced here. 1 second. I wasn't able to. Okay. Now I think it's okay. I will get back to slideshow.
Could you not hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Just a second. See, think from this perspective. You assume that this is the old social order in India, right? So if a person becomes so desireless and he wants to walk out of the family, it is assumed that he is asking somebody to take care of his wife and children. That means his wife says to the wife, no, you can go back to your parents' home and you have other brothers, sisters who can help you. Go ahead, and then the children will also be okay. Or I will give you so much money. I have earned a lot of money. You will be taken care of rest of your life. Don't worry about it. So it is not that giving up is that he is actually letting them starve. No. But he will somehow take care of his family duties and cut the whole deal after that point.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Got it.
So okay, now let's what happens? Slideshow from the current slide. Okay. So now let us compare the Ramanuja Bhashya and Tatparya Chandrika. Ramanuja Bhashya somehow avoids this, saying that this is not about the fourth sannyasi who gives up everything and walks. See, Ramanujacharya was himself a sannyasi, right? He gave up his family life and became a monk. But the particular 6th chapter doesn't refer to it. That is their view, right? Vedanta Deshika, however, was a married person. But Ramanujacharya was definitely a sannyasi. After he was married, he let go and said, this is not going to work for me. I have to become a monk. So he probably took care of his wife, gave somebody the responsibility for. He did not have any children, so he gave the responsibility to somebody and say, let the society or her parents take care of her. Coming back, let us come to the meaning of the 6th chapter here. Redundancy, alone, secret place. Deshika says rahasi is quiet spot. Ekaki refers to social condition of sending away even the close disciples who might otherwise be allowed in a private place. So refutation of Shankara. Shankara interprets alone and secret place as evidence of dhyana yoga is meant for sannyasis only. But Deshika Ramanuja.org argue that these are simply conditions for the practice of meditation. If anybody who has to meditate, just be alone. So it does not refer to as only a formal sannyasi can meditate. Anybody can meditate. So only when somebody meditates, don't be with company. Go alone, be alone with less noise, and even if a person is married, they can do dhyana, they can do meditation, but they have to be for that particular period of time they should be away. Aparigraha, non-possession. It is defined here not just lacking physical objects, but as mental absence of sense of ownership. Aparigraha means not having any objects, no possessions. That's not physical possession. Even a sannyasi needs food, water, shelter. Somebody is giving him with a cup or something. Sometimes sannyasi is given food in a much more royal golden plate or something. So aparigraha is non-possession, mental. That means you don't have any attachment to possessions. Possessions mean nothing to you. That is the meaning here, according to Ramanuja. So the alternate Shankaracharya will argue against this. Okay, Shankaracharya, and I have heard even modern friends of mine who are smartas, right? Smartas, in Smarta tradition, at least most of the Smarta mathas, the sannyasi should not have married at all. He has to take up monkhood, being a celibate before sannyasa. He shouldn't be married. Only maybe there is some matas they will accept, I don't know. But in the Ramanuja system, you can be married. In fact, they will tell you have a married life and then take up sannyasa later. Right? That's what they say. But the Smarta traditions may find it very awkward. They may attack and say, like, oh, what are you doing? First, fully embrace householder life, marriage, comforts, family, all sorts of desires. After enjoying all those things, when the body is very weak, you are not able to enjoy anything more, then okay, I am going to become a monk. Is that really a renunciation? It's just a convenient arrangement you're having. Well, you got sick of your spouse and children and you walked away. Is that real renunciation? They may ask. So, this is the question for reflection. Why not accept Shankaracharya's position that the seeker of the highest truth should be a true sannyasi, unmarried, or he has to live and walk from the very outset? Buddha was married and he became a sannyasi. Some people in the true Shankara lineage, the tradition, a person who is just like 13-year-old boy who is not married, he picks up, he goes away from home and he becomes a monk. This is the true nature of sannyasa. This is the true definition of sannyasa. That is the high standard of sannyasa. Why don't we accept this as the right method of sannyasa? At least from one perspective, this position appears logically consistent and uncompromising. It gives the environment to the sannyasi to go be alone all time. Let's look at it from a serious perspective. What happened in the Vedic Kala? The Vedic rishis, were most of them married? When we look at the Vedas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas, and we hear about so many rishis, Agastya, Vasishta, they were all married grihasthas rather than lifelong celibate monks. So if you look at all these shastras put together, actually 70 to 85% of the rishis mentioned in them were married householder sages. 10 to 20% were lifelong celibates or initiates. So this is what is the study. If you go look at even AI and go find out all this and figure out how many people were married sages, that's the truth. Why? The prominent ones, great sages, Vasishta, who in fact was beyond Vishwamitra, who was a great sage. Vasishta, Arundhati were married. Arundhati, Vasishta are supposed to be a wonderful pair. In fact, the two stars revolve around each other. It's not like one revolves around the other. The two stars revolve around each other. They say in the marriages and all, let the married people take a vow and say, let us live like Vasishta and Arundhati. Atri Anasuya is another great example. Agastya Lopamudra. Agastya Lopamudra is also great. Yajnavalkya, Maitreyi and Katyayani. Yajnavalkya is one of the greatest sages of the Upanishads. That too, Yajnavalkya is the Brihadaranyaka, right? And which is one of the favorite Upanishads for Shankaracharya.
The Agastya's wife is Lopamudra. It is not Lopamudra.
Lopamudra. Thank you. Lopamudra. Maybe Sanskrit problem I have this. I studied probably a lot of English books on Lopamudra. It's not Lopamudra. Thank you. Yajnavalkya's wife is Maitreyi and Katyayani. Kashyapa had Aditi and Diti, two wives. Jamadagni had Renuka. Jamadagni and Renuka were not ordinary people. Their child was Parashurama, one of the avatars of Mahavishnu. So, why were the householder rishis common? Why 75-80% of the rishis were householders? Because the Vedic knowledge were transmitted through family lineages. There were no special schools and universities to study. There were small family lineages, gurukulas, who had that kind of an arrangement. And Yajna and Agnikarya required married couple. The Grihasthashrama sustained the entire Vedic social spiritual system by supporting the visiting sannyasis and also the kings, and that is a Garhapatyam vai Prajapatyam Prabhutvam. It says the Veda itself says Garhapatya, the Grihasthashrama, is a very powerful state of life. Ashram.
In this, all Gotras start by them only. Rishis.
Exactly. All the Rishi Gotras started from them because of lineage, right? Lineage. In Vedic tradition, many of the greatest sages, rishis, were not celibate monks but householders, grihasthas. They believed that living in the world, raising a family and fulfilling duties to society were essential to spiritual completeness. So these people you don't even know the responsibility of married life and children. How do you say you have given up desires? You haven't even tried out to give the desires. So it goes both ways. Like logic goes both ways. So it's just a simple. I was just mentioning Vasishta and Arundhati, and they represent this Big Dipper, Mizar, Alcor stars, which revolve around each other. Just mentioned that this is in marriage. They have this tradition of walking and showing these two stars and things like that, and they are the symbol of lifelong companionship and loyalty. Okay. Ideal marriage. Yajnavalkya is very famous. Katyayani was ordinary lady who wanted to just manage the household domestic affairs, but Maitreyi was a Brahmavadini, seeker of Brahman, and she was arguing, questioning Yajnavalkya all the time. Agastya, Lopamudra, is a famous story. Lopamudra was a great princess of Vidarbha. Sage Agastya was a very strict monk, but he married her. And in fact, Lopamudra is a very interesting thing because she is a female rishi. In fact, a couple of verses in the Rig Veda, she speaks. The famous hymn of Rig Veda 1.179, she successfully reminds her husband that his intense focus on austerity and tapas should not lead him to neglect his domestic duties and the importance of their relationship. She reminds Agastya of it. There's a conversation goes like several hymns there. But in the recent times, during the times of Buddha and Mahavira, the Shramana traditions took over. The Shramana traditions expected lifelong celibate monasticism. That means you have to walk away without marriage. Even, probably in some Shramana traditions, even if married, they can walk away.
This is a woman's name, Gargi. Excuse me.
Yeah. Hello. Yes. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Is she Katyayani or Gargi? Who is Gargi? Is she Katyayani?
What?
Gargi Maitri.
No, we cannot hear you. Something wrong with your voice speaker.
She's asking who's Gargi.
You didn't hear me.
No.
Her name is Gargi.
See, Gargi was, there were two wives. Yajnavalkya, Maitreyi and Katyayani were wives of Yajnavalkya. Gargi was a Rishika. Gargi is a questioner in the Brihadaranyaka. Gargi questions, but she was not a wife of Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya had only two wives. Gargi was in the conversation. She was in the conference, like a huge Brahmavada. There was a big conference. In that, Gargi questions Yajnavalkya. She doesn't leave. She's an amazing arguer in the Vedas.
She is a Brahmavadini.
Oh, Brahmavadini. She is also Brahmavadini. Yeah.
She is a Brahma.
There is definitely something wrong with your speaker, by the way. Your system is not working properly. Your Wi-Fi is not working, or something is wrong. Okay. Anyway, so in the early Vedic tradition, spiritual realization was. Hello?
I'm hearing you.
We cannot hear you. Why don't because it's disturbing others, why don't we have conversation later on? Please mute yourself, because it's not going to help us. If we cannot hear you, there's no point. Okay. There is something wrong with your system. You need to correct it later. So, in the early Vedic realization, spiritual realization was often pursued with a household life. And Rishi was frequently a married sage rather than a renunciant monk. But why did Shankaracharya, who is a follower of the Vedas, did not follow the Yajnavalkya and the Arundhati, Vasishta Arundhati model, married model? Why? He said, I will walk. I will become a sannyasi right from very early age. He followed the Buddhist principles, Buddha and Jaina traditions. KSV had a view on this. KSV said, our teacher Sri K.S. Vardachar, KSV Swami, he said, during the times of Buddhism was supported by the kings, and Buddhism and Jainism had spread all over India. Vedic civilization was very during its lower cycle, lower level of the cycle. Vedic religion was probably people gave up. They didn't like that strict rituals and all those things, and animal slaughter may be involved in those rituals. All these things people hated. Shankaracharya said he cannot, being a Vaidika, having the Vedic type of life, he cannot change the world. He has to influence. You become one among them like a Buddhist. That is why he studied Buddhism. He went into a vihara and studied Buddhism under Buddhist teachers, and then later on became a monk like them, because he could influence the entire country. He did. He successfully influenced the entire country. That is why we are speaking of Shankara Bhashya today. Shankaracharya is probably the most celebrated Vedantin for a long time now. This is the end of what I wanted to tell today. If you have any comments, questions, you can go ahead. Short class today.
So what if a householder who is following Shankara's view, if they come to a state of a sannyasi, taking sannyas, so what is the advice in their case? If only Bala sannyasa is allowed.
No. See, what do you call it? Depends on the situation, right? See, whenever as a person who gets extreme vairagya, extreme what do you call, absence of desires, he can take up sannyasa. As I told you, even married people can take sannyasa. But only thing is, when he takes sannyasa, he has to walk away from children, wife, all responsibilities, no possessions, nothing. And he has to walk. And he has to live separately somewhere, or some students or somebody should support them, whatever it is.
Swami, it seemed like you said Shankaracharya himself advocated for Bala sannyasa, like directly from
True.
Brahmacharya to take
True.
sannyasa. He
True.
didn't really advocate any such thing.
No. What it is by Shastra that is allowed. See,
Yeah.
his talk like this, right? That is what do you call in the Shastra, in the Bhashyas, he accepts that there may be sannyasis who are grihasthas who become sannyasis later.
Yeah,
But the thing is,
and he
in the
doesn't even
model of
reject.
tradition, the tradition he followed was different. In the most, see, if let us take, I don't know much about some traditions of Advaita where if they allow any married person to take sannyasa, right? But in the Madhva Sampradaya, which follows the Smartha Sampradaya, because you have to become a yati from being a bachelor. You cannot be married, but there is only Uttaradi Mata, one Mata of Madhvas, which allows married people to take up sannyasa. Right? So I don't know which of that Mata in Advaita Sampradaya who may allow married people to take up sannyasa. I don't even know. But Shankaracharya obviously supported the Bala sannyasa, that is, become sannyasi right from being a brahmachari.
For me, but his views are, he is not even advocating for leaving karma itself, right? He clearly says karma can be done for chitta shuddhi. He's just saying that it is not done for jnana itself, directly jnana.
That's
Karma
true.
can just,
That's true. But if you are doing karma, you be a grihastha. That's all.
because you need to have that sense of individuality, which has to be given up eventually in his case, right?
True. Agreed.
So it doesn't seem like he's saying that you have to give up.
What do you mean?
Only if somebody is desirous of getting this Brahma Jnana does he advocate sannyasa for, right?
True.
Only for that person.
Yes. See, initially, the person can do karma. See, that is what is there, right? The grihastha can do karmas and give up the fruits of karma initially. that will make him prepare for dhyana. Once you establish in dhyana, you give up all karmas and walk away from grihasthashrama. Have to. No question.
I have one question. Was Vardhamana Mahavira celibate?
What? Who?
Vardhamana Jain. First,
See,
Vardhamana Mahavira. Was he a celibate?
I think probably he was celibate all the time.
But Buddha was not a celibate.
Buddha was not a celibate. See, Buddha was not a celibate. See, we are only talking about Shankaracharya's commentary here, right?
No. Why should Shankaracharya go in the way of Buddhism and Jainism to accept the monastic tradition? But Shankaracharya actually took sannyasa in its very, very early stage.
True. See,
so even before he knew what about grihasthashrama, maybe he's 12. Before 12 only he became a sannyasi. No.
That's what we understand. Yes.
So he doesn't even have the correct knowledge of what a grihastha would be or what a vanaprastha would be.
See, that is why
but
he did.
It was his desire to become a sannyasi from the childhood. We can say like that, no?
Fine. Yes. Fine. So I don't understand.
So just to imitate Vaishnava, Buddhism or Jainism, he took to sannyasa to view that it doesn't somehow agreeable.
No, you're not getting the point. What KSV said is what Shankaracharya thought is to really influence everybody. He ought to become a pure sannyasi without any connection, just like Buddhism and Jainism, because Buddhism and Jainism had already popularized the idea of Shramana tradition of monasticism. So he said it's better to influence being one of them. And so he copied that model of sannyasa. That's all I'm saying.
So he accepted that monastic order, you want to say like that?
What did he say?
No, because he likes that model, so he took to monastery in the early age. Is that view?
See,
even before knowing about Buddhism.
I don't think I agree with this. Let me tell you why.
My point is, even before knowing Buddhism and Jainism, it was his earnest desire to become a sannyasi from the childhood. So even before he knows about those religions, he wanted to become a sannyasi. He became a sannyasi. That's what I feel. I think.
The one thing though.
He became a sannyasi because of seeing the poverty around him, and I feel that was the reason.
Swami, I also have another objection to add on to this KSV Swami's view, is that he says clearly in his works, Shankaracharya, that if you want to do karma, then you have to have kartritva and have that karta bhava. In his model of realizing, there is no karta, right? He is not a karta. The realizing oneself as not being a karta itself is a problem for karma, right?
Yes.
So his model, he is very clear about why he is saying sannyasa is required. It doesn't seem like there needs a Buddhistic Purva Paksha here.
Okay, good questions. All are good questions. Let me answer something for you. See, Shankaracharya's true life, some people say he lived only 32 years. Many people agree that he lived only 32 years. And many people also question that. Even their own Ramasubramanya Shastri or some other people question that he probably lived 70, 80 years, not 32 years. So, nobody knows Shankaracharya's truly, his history is unknown. For sure. Let us leave that aside. That is a complex problem. We don't know the answer to it. We leave that
See,
aside.
if I could just add one piece to this, everybody comes up with a different process, a different model. To say that Shankaracharya proposed as the sannyasa model, the example that I would give is one of his primary 4 disciples, because everybody agrees, like whether they agree the history of every piece of Shankaracharya or not, that we agree that like Mandana Mishra was debated. And then we agree Mandana Mishra was made, debated to make him a sannyasi. And then he became Shureshwaracharya. And then that was a very famous debate. Like that, almost all believers of Shankaracharya would agree.
Correct.
Like,
Agreed.
and so
Yes.
if that is the case, like, so we just have to think of like his process, his model is that at a certain level, he had to acquire these people who had the ability, because he could have gotten to somebody else like who's not Mandana Mishra, who was because the other disciples were sannyasis already who were not married. He could have found some other person, but he chose Mandana Mishra because he had the ability to take his process, to take his model further. So my thought process because of that is that he believed in the model of sannyasa, not just in the model of like taking sannyasa from the beginning, but model of sannyasa itself to be at a particular part or like a role that you have to play. That's my understanding of this.
True. See, agreed. Okay, I agreed. But let me tell you first. Let me take care of what Champaka Mami was saying. Right. See, what they say is if you assume, if you believe in Vidyaranya's view of Shankaracharya, who lived only 32 years according to him, at the age 4 or 6 he wrote Gita Bhashya. At the age 8 or 9 he wrote Upanishad Bhashya. And then he became sannyasi at 13 or whatever, 12 or whatever it is, 11 or 12 he became sannyasi. Then he went all over India, and at the age 32 he reached moksha. See, that is the model. So he says he knew about Buddhism very early. He was a jnani from birth. So before even he wrote any shastra, he talks about Buddhism in his Bhagavad-Gita Bhashya. At age 4, if he wrote Bhagavad-Gita Bhashya, he talks about Buddhism there itself. So, and in fact, it is very funny that Kanchikama Kodipidam people think that he was before Buddha. But if he was before Buddha, how would you write about Buddhism? Buddhism didn't even come through. The followers of Kanchikama Kodipidam argue that he knew the future and he knew how Buddha would write, and that's what he wrote earlier. Or they come up with this Adi Shankara is separate, and the great Shankara is separate, and the great Shankara wrote some of the works. Adi Shankara was a different person. They come out with different theories. All are theories. But the general idea, what KSV was referring to, is in reality, in practical reality, there is a lot of Buddhist influence among the Panditas during that time. See, what he comes up from the views of understanding the later Shankara works, understanding the Buddhist works during the time, how Shankaracharya even picks up the Samvriti Satya and Paramarthika Satya concepts from the Mahayana Buddhism. He looks at all these books and says what he thinks is probably, nobody can be sure, probably he wanted to influence. They say Shiva as avatara is Shankara, right? So there is a divine. The very fact that you and I are talking about him a couple of thousand years after or 1,000 years later shows that there is a divine action. And so he was not an ordinary person, and he had a will to change the world. And he has already changed the world, or else you and I would be not talking about him. So he has taken a very practical approach and say he had to be a pure sannyasi to influence the world at that time. That's what he thought. Because the other people who were pure sannyasis, like the Buddhists and Jainists, won't even care, or you're just a married man, why should I even listen to you, kind of a thing. And they in fact found fault with all their older, they were creating stories about Vasishtha, Vamadeva, and all these rishis. That's his view. That's all I'm saying. Whether you like it or not, that's fine.
So in the
there is no doubt Shankaracharya was involved in debates all over India. So he met a lot of other Shramana and other people too. Everybody he met.
No. I was just meaning about particular, because Mandana Mishra was actually given one of the Pitas, right? So and so if he was thinking only pure sannyasis are worthy, then Mandana Mishra would not have been given that Pita, is what I'm trying to say.
So no. 1 second, hold on. See, the thing is, you're right. Now I get your point. I understand your point well. See, it's a question of capability also, right? He found Mandana Mishra as a Mimamsaka, very powerful fellow who could argue with Shankaracharya for a long time, right? So he found him to be a very capable person, no question about it.
Correct. Yeah, that's what he was seeking, people who were capable. But even though he was seeking them, he was converting them to sannyasa because he thought his process, his methodology, he thought the leaders have to be unattached so that they are not questioned about their partiality. So that's my thought on his concept of sannyasa.
That's fine. See, the thing is, at the end of the day, the fundamental idea was, see, what is the purpose of Shankaracharya? He definitely had made up his mind to influence the world, and he did. He did not. If he was so pure yogi, the sannyasi of the purest order, he would be like a Sanaka Sanandana who would not be in touch with the human beings at all. He would be just completely, they will be in a forest and completely in a cave and just do dhyana constantly. Why bother about this world? Anyway, world is mithya. Why bother about the world? The Shankaracharya definitely wanted to influence the world. No question. And he used Mandana Mishra, a capable person, doesn't matter what he was married or unmarried. See, you need to understand. That is why the Yadahareva Virajet Tadahareva Pravrajet is very clear, right? Shankaracharya uses this sentence from the Vedas or somewhere, or some from Dharmashastra or Mahabharata. The day you become dispassionate, without any desires, walk. That doesn't mean that the person has to be a what do you call, celibate, brahmachari. A person can get dispassion after marriage also, right? So what I am saying is, when he established the order, he probably look at the later after Sureshwara. Was there any married person in this Shringeri line?
No, that's because he is proposing that particular format. But maybe somebody was there, but we may not know.
See, Mandana Mishra is an exception in that line. Sureshwaracharya was an exception. If you look at it, if I look at all the four matas now in the Shankara Sampradaya, I would say 95% of what I know, they are all yatis. Being brahmacharis right from the early age, they became yatis, including Kanchikama Kodipitam. So that's what they're following at this point, right? Whether Shankaracharya himself established that is also questionable. I'm not. It's just that there's a general rule. That's all. There are exceptions to everything.
What the followers are doing cannot be said to be that's what the teacher taught, right?
True. We cannot say. But what we generally understand is Shankara Sampradaya follows the Shramana tradition kind of Sampradaya in terms of pure, clear separation from married life. That's all we can say. And that is not exactly the case in the Ramanuja Sampradaya and other things, which they probably take a more Vedic view and say, okay, it's okay for sages to be like that and it's okay for human beings to be like that also.
No, but
And
even Ramanujacharya would agree about sannyasa, right? That people can take up a sannyasa if he
yeah,
himself was like that.
true. He can take up, yeah, Ramanuja agrees that you can take up
So we're just arguing about whether somebody can take sannyasa from childhood itself, brahmacharya itself
Yeah.
directly or not. Is that the only topic of concern here?
No, there is no argument here. It's just a question of comparison of traditions. What Kesvi was mentioning is prior to Shankaracharya, the pure monkhood of the Shramana tradition did not exist in the Vedic life. Let's come to the fundamental. Thank you for asking this question. What Kesvi argued was Vedic system did not support the Shramana system at all. Shankaracharya preferred the Shramana system.
You understand that. But merely because Jainism, Buddhism interrupted, that doesn't mean that it should have been that may be the view of Shankaracharya afterwards also. That may not be the objective. It happened so.
Could be.
And to be in the same order, he might have selected only monastic following people to advocate throughout the world, to go with him, along with him, without any other unnecessary responsibilities.
Yeah. See, the thing is, Shankaracharya in the 6th chapter makes a very big case that what you call for dhyana. To do dhyana, you have to give up karmas and also grihasthashrama. Right? That is the main point he brings up, and that is in tune with the Shramana tradition, and that is not in tune with the Vedic tradition. All the great rishis, 80% of them were married, and they somehow managed both marriage, actions, grihasthashrama, childbearing and child rearing, and also dhyana and things like that. This is where the problem comes.
Swami, I am confused again based on what you just said. Is Shankaracharya saying in the introduction whether to do dhyana you have to take sannyasa, or is he saying that people who are already excelled, who don't need to do dhyana, yoga rudha, right?
No. See, yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamah karanamachyate. Once you become yoga rudha, you give up actions automatically, and you do not have any connection with the family also. You walk, right? But the thing is, how do you become yoga rudha? You have to start slowly. While being a sannyasi, while being a grihastha, you do actions, but slowly give up the fruits of action. When the fruits of actions are given up, your dhyana, you can practice dhyana, but it won't be good. But your dhyana becomes better and better and better and better. At a point, you will have enough vairagya to give up the family and start becoming a Vividisha sannyasi initially, and then Vidvat sannyasa. See, even among the ordinary, the Shankara Sampradaya, the initial, you don't have to be a realized person to become a sannyasi. You can take a Vividisha sannyasa first, because the order of sannyasa helps you better to focus. And that's why the proponents of Ramakrishna Ashrama order and Chinmaya mission order, they are, that's how they take up sannyasa early, without full knowledge. But they will focus their life to achieve knowledge. And then they will get full knowledge while doing dhyana and completion and become yoga rudha. See, sannyasa doesn't mean you are yoga rudha. Sannyasa could be Vividisha sannyasa. Later on, you have to perfect the dhyana and become yoga rudha.
Then, if this is a natural growth actually into the dhyana state, where one will give the householder life and become a sannyasi, then why is that they are actually commenting on those who are not Bala sannyasis? I am not understanding this.
See, once again, Bala Sannyasa is just a methodology later on adopted. That doesn't mean it's a rule. In fact, Bala Sannyasa is just a casual comment here. It has got nothing to do with the philosophical views or the bhashya here at all. I know of statements in the Shankara Bhashya which says that, you know, if you get dispassion and you can take up sannyasa from any ashrama, even being a grihastha ashrama, but if you can become dispassionate even at a young age, you don't have to take a grihastha ashrama at all, walk and go and become a monk. And that kind of a statement, I think even Shankaracharya mentioned somewhere in the Bhashya somewhere.
So it is purely a subjective issue then.
True, it's a subjective issue. See, Bala Sannyasa is just a casual thing we mentioned here. There's nothing to do with, there is no statement here in Bhagavad Gita which is Bala Sannyasa.
No, in one of the slides you have shown, there it was actually written that they comment about those people who are actually taking sannyasa after a householder life, like in Sri Vaishnava or this thing. They have a comment on that kind of sannyasa. So I was speaking with regard to that only.
Comment means what? Comment is what?
In one of the slides you had shown that they actually are against the system followed in Ishtadvaita or this thing where after leading the householder life, they take sannyas.
True. See, one thing I tell you, these are all comments done by Smartas to me. My Smarta friend, and who's a very well-known friend to me, is older than me, and we had very good social connections. He used to make fun of Sri Vaishnava sannyasis. That's all I'm saying. It's not that some yati of Smarta sannyasi did not make this comment. Friends made this kind of comments. That's all. Okay then, let's take a break, and next week we will pick it up from here, 6th chapter. We will get into the shloka by shloka analysis of Shankara Bhashya. Okay, let me ask you a question before that. Do you like this kind of study, or you don't like this? Do you think this is confusing, this type of way we are doing?
Swami, can we
it is very interesting. I like it.
Can we have this kind of timings back to back so that it's fresh in our minds what we spoke about in the previous class?
Thank you for bringing up for the question of timing. From now onwards, what I want to do, honestly, Saturday and Sunday early mornings I want to do, both days. Evenings are becoming very tough for me over the weekends. During the weekends, in fact, yesterday I was in a meeting. I was supposed to be in the meeting, and I got really punished for not going to those meetings often. I left because of the evening Gita lectures. I used to miss those meetings, and I'm becoming a social ostracized person because of that. So I definitely want to, for my own life balance, I have to do this mornings. Saturday, Sunday mornings I will do. That's my plan.
That was an ideal time. It suited also for us.
Great. Early morning will 6:30 will start and finish up the Gita lectures from this week. Hello, couldn't hear you.
This is the perfect time.
I cannot hear you.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Hello, this is the perfect time.
Oh, thank you. I want to ask all of you to go do some diagnostics on your audio. Make sure it is good. So test it, take some half an hour. You go to Google and just search for how to do diagnostics on my phone or on my computer, and make sure your audio is done well. Please do that. If you don't know, ask some computer expert to help you out on that. Okay, it'll be easier. And that goes for me too. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः, अस्मत्परमगुरुभ्यो नमः, अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः, श्रीकृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः, श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंह परब्रह्मणे नमः, श्री लक्ष्मी आयुर्वेदन परब्रह्मणे नमः, सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Namaskar.
Namaskaram. Namaskar.